Hi everyone, welcome to this beautiful Saturday afternoon. It is the 27th of March and it is about +7 out, but as you can see it's a bit overcast, and if you look at just in the distance skyline you can see our beautiful downtown and the CN Tower, and we're looking south down Spadina right now. Just come up the stairs to do a walk today around Casa Loma. So let's get started. I did this video I think the end of January, and my camera was mounted on a chest strap, and it wasn't picking up well, the audio, so I had to scrap that video. So now is a good time. It's a perfect day to do another video. So again, in the distance you can see Spadina. We've come up those stairs, and there is Casa Loma looking from the east. So it took about 4 years to build Casa Loma. It started in 1911, the construction, and it concluded in 1914. And it was built for Sir Henry Pellet.
I would be like this, you know. I'm not going out.
So we'll definitely try and get a little closer, but before we walk closer to Casa Loma, we're just going to look here at the Spadina Museum. I've never been in here, and I've always meant to come through here, particularly when visitors come into town. And it is closed. I think Casa Loma is also closed. That's the Spadina Museum. It also has a nice view of downtown. So Casa Loma is quite a famous Toronto landmark. A lot of tourists come here, and often you will see busloads of people being dropped off, and the buses normally park here. You can see the wide berth for the buses, and we're going to try and get inside just at the grounds here. We should be able to, I think, without having to pay an admission just to get on the grounds, but we'll find out. I've been here, I think, a total of 3 times. I came here shortly after I moved to Toronto, so I came here with a friend and we toured around. And then I came here once for an event. And I came here one other time, I think, with my mom. I think we can sort of get a closer look. Looks like they might be doing some, it says here, danger open excavations, so let's find out if we can just peer up here. Looks like there's work being done. Oh, yeah, it looks like they're doing some landscaping here. I don't think this is the main entrance, but not sure. And the conservatory is just around the side here. And the event that I came to was in this conservatory. I remember it was quite beautiful. I think someone's learning how to rock climb. I think this fellow came from the other side. Yeah, we can't see in, but you can see how beautiful the glasswork is. It's quite gorgeous. And I can see it, but I'm not sure the camera will pick it up inside. There's a glass mosaic ceiling. So Casa Loma is located in the neighborhood of South Hill. And Casa Loma is the Spanish pronunciation for hill house. Yeah, it looks pretty closed, all right. The architectural style is Gothic Revival, and I know nothing about architecture, but Gothic I know, but Revival, I'm not sure what that means exactly. So this is the very north side of Casa Loma. And maybe that, yeah, that must be the main entrance that we were looking around at before. There is a restaurant here. It's called, I think it's called the Terrace at Blue Blood Steakhouse. I think it's currently open daily at 4 o'clock. Oh, maybe not, because it looks like they've blocked off the parking. And they've blocked off access because I think the yeah, the restaurant is right in here. Currently, the City of Toronto is the owner of Casa Loma, and it was designated a heritage site in 1987. And maybe it's closed, because right through there is Blue Blood Steakhouse, and it's a pretty bougie restaurant. I don't know what was there before, because they did a major renovation. Gosh, when did they do that? I think it took a long time. I think they were renovating it over for, well, not a decade, but maybe, well, I think it was just over a decade. It went to major restoration. And I remember reading that the cost was millions, like $30 million, and was partially paid for by the city of Toronto. Here's the parking lot. There's over 98 rooms in Casa Loma. That covers 64,700 square feet. Can you imagine living in that? And I know once upon a time, I think in the 20s, sometime I think in the 20s, the owner who lived here, Sir Henry Pallet, he lived here for about 10 years before it was seized by the government for taxes. He couldn't pay his taxes. And I think for a short time, it was taken over by another organization. I don't think it was the city initially that converted it into a luxury hotel for a period of time. And then the city took it over again. Now there is a third floor, which apparently remained unfinished. And it hosts, I think it hosts like military rifles, I think from World War I, related to the Queen Elizabeth, something to do with the Queen's regiment. I'm not sure. It's what I recall from. I remember when I was here and someone was talking about it, and they talked about the third floor and something about rifles or military equipment that was hosted on the third floor. But that may have changed since. This was, I remember hearing that about 30 years ago. So we're just going to hop around the side here. I think there's major work happening here. And then I want to go over to the stables and the hunting lodge, it's called, also known as the coach house. And just across the street there, that is a convent. It's quite beautiful with the clay tile ceiling and the stonework. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's all boarded up, so we really can't see anything. But this wall goes all the way around Casa Loma. And if we were to walk all the way around, we would meet the stairs that I came up. We're going to cross over to get to the coach house. So Casa Loma wasn't the first structure by Sir Henry Pallet to get started. It was actually the coach house where construction began. And this is this building that we're coming upon now. It has stables, a potting shed, and a hunting lodge, also known as a coach house. It's 2 stories. It's 4,000 square feet. It is big. And apparently it had servant quarters. And there were apparently 9 male servants or staff that lived here. But I also heard that these homes here somehow related to Casa Loma as far as quarters for staff. but that could be wrong. And this is the Casa Loma parquet. And there's Casa Loma.
For a long time it was just like, this is just how it's going to be.
Yeah, we can't get onto the grounds. Let's see if maybe just rolling up. All the work involved. It's quite beautiful. I've been wanting to do this Casa Loma walk a lot sooner because it was, I think, January, early February I did it, and as I mentioned earlier, it didn't work out. So I decided this morning to come out, and it's quiet. Hey, let's go in. Oh, that's a pretty painting. Oh, there's a mattress. Door will open 15 minutes prior game. Game. I don't know if you can see. It looks like a room that is used for bit of a workshop almost. Some sort of fancy chairs in there. There's some Christmas wrapping paper in the window. This is Walmer Road, and the address of the stables is 330 Walmer Road. And is there an entrance? This looks like a vehicle entrance. I've never been in the coach house, just in the castle. It looks like they're doing some window work here. As you can see, looking up, hopefully you can see the windows. They're pretty old. They look like they're single pane. Here as well. Here's the other side of the steeple. Or the tower, I guess. Yeah, they're doing some landscaping here for sure. They pulled up some old cement stone. I think that's stone, not cement, yeah. And I don't know what these little hut-like structures are. They almost look like little concession stands. in the summer, this area is so busy. Of course, pre-COVID. It's a very happening tourist spot. Many people like to come here. And understandable so. It's a good thing for families. It's a piece of Toronto history. I've never walked down here. Yeah, I think we can continue this video a little further to the north. Short little video today. There's not even a breeze. It is so calm. And these gray days, these gray skies, I find very soothing. Gray days, the streets are fairly quiet, and I can't hear any traffic. As you can see, it's a pretty bougie neighborhood. Some grand old homes here. Yesterday's walk, I went to Orphus Road down Dufferin. And it was a bit windy, but it was really bright and sunny. Rained in the morning. We're watching on Netflix a series that we've only just discovered through a friend of my husband's. It's called Halt and Catch Fire. And it's 4 seasons. And I think it started in, 2014 or 2017, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a series based on the emergence of the personal laptop or PCs. So it starts in the 80s. And of course, growing up in the 80s, I can relate to everything that they're talking about. Because after school, I started working for an oil company in their computer department. And where I worked, we hosted the mainframe. And it was a dust-free raised flooring with special cooling air conditioning system. And I remember spending time with a lot of the software developers and those personalities I just found so endearing. And my husband was a software developer before he went into management, and he loved software development, and he understands everything that the people in this little mini-series are talking about. So it's really captivating, and I think each episode's about 45 minutes long or 50 minutes long, something like that. And we're into season 2 right now. And the characters seem fairly realistic. And of course there's drama. You know, you need that whole Hollywood effect, but for the most part it's fairly realistic. The clothes, the hair. And I remember many of the software developers working nights and working weekends to fix problems. And they, you know, they really enjoyed that whole process. And when my husband was a software developer, he relished that whole problem-solving issue, because there was always a problem or something new to develop, and you had to figure it out and work through it. And I know that my husband completely loved doing that type of work. Anyway, it's a really good series, and you don't have to like computers or be interested in computers to enjoy the series, because it tells a good story. And the characters are, for the most part, pretty likable. There's some people living down here. I hope they stay safe and are warm. We're just going to cross over here and look at the park. There's a dog park down here. And let's climb those stairs. It's been a long time since I've been up to this park here. But there's a dog park down here. Look at those buttes. Oh my goodness. Look at those little monkeys. Play, play, let's play. We're gonna play around. Let's wrestle. We had a dog. His name was Physics. We had him for over 14 years. So there's a ravine down there, a lot of runners and cyclists and just people walking down through there. I remember when I was, years ago when I was training, and we used to run together as a group, and that's the only time I'd ever do any ravine runs, was in a group. It's a little unsettling to do it alone. But ravine runs are good because in the summer, that's when I would do my training. You don't want to be exposed to the heat of Toronto. So the ravine provides a lot of shade, a lot of trees. So we just crossed over that bridge. And this is the track. Oh, it goes all the way around, yeah. There's our skyline. I'll go back the other way. It's nice here. lot of tennis courts. I'm surprised I don't see more people playing tennis, because there's a tennis court near where I live that is being used quite frequently, actually. But this one, yeah, these look like they're chained up. And the street that we're walking towards is that's St. Clair. And this is called Sir Winston Churchill Park. Playground. Let's walk this way.
I think like there are people who are like passionate about it, and I'm like, that's great, I'm happy for you, but like,
It's good that it's warm enough to be outside with kids, you know, in the playground. But I do sort of wonder, you know, about transmission of the virus. I don't know if people wipe down the little you know, the little like the slide and so forth. They wipe that down before their kids get on. That building that I'm aiming at, that was built just recently. What used to be there was, it was a retirement home. And I remember it was sort of a very pale yellow. And I don't know if it's still a retirement home or not. Let's just continue along St. Clair. Going east on St. Clair, walking on the south side. Now this is another new structure too. Oh, this is the retirement home, not the one that I was pointing at. Not that one, but this one here, the Russell Hare Retirement by Signature. Yeah, so here was where the previous retirement home was. Now I'm not sure if why it was rebuilt versus just renovated. But anyhow, it looks like it's the same height as the previous one. And I remember when the streetcar tracks were just streetcar tracks and you could cross over. The track platforms, if I recall, were not raised as you see them here. And you could make a turn a left-hand turn. If you're going east on St. Clair, you can make a left-hand turn on most streets. But it's been about 14 years since the new platforms were put in place. And I remember driving, you know, down this road and being able to turn left to Warren Road up here. But now, as you can see, because of the raised train track platform, that's no longer permissible. There's no way you can get over that. I don't know why that was. I mean, it makes sense though, because I can see, you know, a car wanting to make a left-hand turn and then blocking a streetcar from both sides. And if you think about all the side streets off of St. Clair, how disruptive that would have been for the train to get through. Here's the Timothy Eaton Memorial Church across the street. It's quite beautiful. We're going to cross St. Clair to the north and walk along the north side of St. Clair. Behind the church is the neighborhood of Forest Hill, another bougie neighborhood. And I think we're going to walk by my mom's condo that she lived in. She lived in Toronto for the last year of her life. She moved here from Calgary. And she loved Toronto, loved. And she moved into a cute little one-bedroom condo. And she was right on the streetcar line, so it made it easy for her to get to her bingo destination, which was Delta Bingo, quite far west on St. Clair. I visited that bingo hall at one of my first walks. I think it was the Corsa Italia walk. I thought, while I'm in Corsa Italia, I am going to visit my mom's favorite haunt. And it was still in operation. My mom loved playing games, like card games, and she loved going to Vegas. And it's interesting, she just loved playing games, but none of that rubbed off on me or my brothers. But I do remember as kids playing snakes and ladders and crazy eights and 31. I remember as kids, like every Saturday night we were playing cards, Sunday night as well, playing cards, and friends would come over, like my older brother, his friends, or my friends would come over and we would play cards with my mom. And then when she was in the hospital here in Toronto, at the end of her life, we played cards. She had to remind me again how to play certain games, but it's like getting, you know, getting back in the saddle, so to speak. And it all sort of came flooding back. So this is all coming down. These homes, I think, before they were boarded up, I think they were actually offices. Like, I think they were turned into like a doctor's office and a law firm, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like another bougie condo. I've just seen the side of it. I've never actually come around to the front. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, this looks like the main entrance. Yeah, it's probably going to have residents living in there, I would say, within 6 months, if not sooner. There's Glen Gould Park. This is one of my favorite roads in Toronto, Avenue Road. That's looking to the north. And this is looking to the south. I did a walk down Avenue Road a few weeks back. I don't know if you can see that well, but across the street there's a 3-story condominium, which is, it's an old one. But I've always been curious as to what it looks like inside. I remember earlier this year there was an ad in the newspaper, you know, in the real estate section, where they're marketing, you know, homes for sale, and there was a unit that was for sale in this condominium. But I think there was like only 2 or 3 little pictures on the website. Little photos, rather. Couldn't get a really good grasp of what the whole unit looked like. But, you know, you could tell it was an older unit. It's an older building. But there's just something really appealing about it. And there's a little entranceway. One entranceway, but there's also an entranceway just around the corner here. But I just think it's really appealing. Really like it. Now this is called the Foxboro, or the what's it called? Yeah, the Foxboro. And this used to be an old church. They've preserved some of the exterior facade. They've kept that of the church, and then behind it, of course, they constructed condos. I'm not sure if they're condos or apartments. Now here, this building right here, where you can see across the street, it says the Market and then LCBO. But this building here, this used to be the main office, the head office for Imperial Oil. And this was converted into condos definitely within the last 20 years. Maybe even the last 10 years. It does look like an office building, I think. I'm sure the renovations are quite nice, because I would think it'd be pretty expensive to live on this section of St. Clair. Now, interesting art structure across the street. I'll try and get right in front of it from across the street. That's an interesting piece of artwork. They look cool apartment buildings and cool apartments. Again, old. I bet they're big inside. I just have that feeling they'd be pretty large. Could be totally wrong. I remember coming here when my mom moved to Toronto. There was a condo for sale here. And we came into this building, but it was super small. And it was cute. The apartment was so cute. But it was a little bit too small for her liking. And I remember it having a French balcony. I think it was like on the 4th floor, something like that. It was on one of the upper floors. And the condo that she moved into is just a couple of doors down. Very nice building. Very nice. And she was really, it was only a 20-minute walk from my place to her place. So I could get here quickly by car if I needed to, and really, you know, only 20 minutes on foot. And she really liked the idea of living on St. Clair, because when she used to come and visit us, she used to walk to her Delta Bingo from my house. She'd walk south on Yonge and then all the way west down St. Clair. So she really became familiar with St. Clair Avenue, and was really happy to be living on St. Clair Avenue. I think this, coming up here, I think this is the head office for the Canadian arm of Rolex. It could be, maybe, well, I wonder if it's just a repair area. No, it's offices. Yeah, this is it. This is my mom's condo. This is where she lived for a year. She only lived here for a year. But very well maintained. It's a beautiful building. There's a piece of artwork on that building. That's interesting. Not sure if the camera will pick it up, but it has feature elements of neighborhoods that stand out in Toronto. So that you see the CN Tower, you see, I'm not sure what bridge, there's a bridge that they're pointing at. I'm not sure what bridge that is. Some university buildings. Can't make out what some of the others might be. That's pretty cool. I like to see artwork like that. Right across the way there, where you can see where it says the Union Social Eatery. That used to be a Fran's restaurant, and when I moved here in December, or January rather, of 1989, it was cold, and I remember back then I was staying with a friend that lived not too far from this location, and walking along St. Clair the intent was to go to the apartment buildings, and basically what I did was I went door to door to the apartment buildings looking for vacancies. And I thought it was a good approach to trying to, because back in those days it was hard to get an apartment, really hard. And I remember thinking as a strategy to, come in my business attire and bring an employment letter stating that I'm employed and so on and so forth. And I remember doing that to many of the apartment buildings that were along here. And then I remember one night it was really cold and I was freezing. And then just across the street there where it says the Union Social Eatery, that used to be a Fran's restaurant. And I remember sitting in there and having a coffee just to warm up before I made my way back to my friend's house who lived near Bathurst in St. Clair. Because I was staying there until I could secure permanent residence. And And so every time I go by there, I always look at that Union Social. Of course, it was not Union Social at the time. It's Fran's restaurant. And I always think of that. Every time I walk down the street, I always think of that time. Anyhow, folks, I think this is a good time to conclude today's video. Thank you very much for joining me. I look forward to having you join me in my next video, and I hope you would consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you next time. Boomer Girl Walking, signing off.